The great crystal hall stretched far above Taman Park's head. Light danced through the walls like trapped rainbows. He had never seen anything so beautiful or so cold. Around him sat creatures from across the galaxy. Some looked like giant insects with too many eyes. Others were just balls of glowing energy that hurt to look at directly. A few had tentacles where arms should be. All of them were staring at him with hate. Taman wore his best black suit and kept his face calm. Next to him, Admiral Sora Kim sat straight in her military uniform. Her medals caught the crystal light. Behind them, Dr. Woo-Jin Lee shuffled through papers with shaking hands. Captain Hye-Jin Choi stood at attention near the back wall. The four humans looked very small in the huge room. High above them all, the council speaker rose from her throne. She was tall and thin, with skin like silver metal. When she spoke, her voice echoed from every wall. The council will now hear the charges against the species called human. A creature that looked like a walking stick bug stepped forward. Its voice buzzed like angry bees. These humans break our most sacred laws. They interfere with young species. They give weapons to those who should not have them. They spread chaos wherever they go. Taman wanted to stand up and shout, but he knew it would not help. The council had already decided. This was just a show. The bug creature continued. On Kepler 442, they taught the Nalti how to build spaceships. The Nalti were happy living in trees. Now they fight wars in space. On Wolf 359, they gave the Cordon advanced medicine. The Cordon population grew too fast. Now they strip mine 3 worlds to feed everyone. We helped them, Sora Kim said quietly. We made their lives better. The council speaker's silver face turned toward her. You made them like you, violent, greedy, always wanting more. Dr. Lee finally found his voice. That's not true. We shared knowledge freely. We asked for nothing in return. A ball of blue. Energy floated forward. When it spoke, the voice came from inside everyone's head. That is the problem. You give too much, too fast. Young species must learn slowly. They must earn their place among the stars over millions of years. Like you did? Captain Choi asked. She was young and angry. How long did your species take to reach space? The energy being pulsed brighter. We are ancient. We have wisdom. You're scared, Choi said. She ignored Taman's warning look. You're scared because we did in 200 years what took you millions. The crystal hall erupted in angry sounds. Bug clicks, energy hums, and stranger noises filled the air. The council speaker raised one long arm for silence. This proves our point, she said. Humans are too aggressive, too quick to anger, too dangerous to remain in civilized space. Taman stood up slowly. May I speak for my people? The speaker nodded once. We are different from you, Taman said. His voice carried clearly through the hall. We move fast. We take risks. We help those who need help. You call this dangerous. We call it being alive. He looked around the room at all the alien faces. You built this council to keep things the same, to make sure nothing changes. But change is not evil. Growth is not wrong. The universe is vast and full of wonders. Why should only a few old species enjoy them? Because young species make mistakes, the bug creature buzzed. They start wars. They destroy their worlds. They must be protected from themselves. By keeping them ignorant? Dr. Lee asked. He had found his courage. By watching them suffer. When you could help? That's not protection. That's cruelty. Sora Kim stood up next to Taman. We've seen your protection. Whole species dying from diseases you could cure with a simple vaccine. Wars that could end with better communication. Technology. Children starving on worlds rich with resources they don't know how to use. And when we try to help, Taman added, you call us criminals. The council speaker's face showed no emotion. You disrupt the natural order. Young species must find their own path to wisdom. Even if that path leads to extinction? Captain Choi asked. Even then, the energy being pulsed, it is better than the chaos you bring. The trial continued for 3 more hours. Other council members spoke against humanity. They showed pictures of wars on worlds where humans had made contact. They talked about population explosions and resource conflicts. They made everything sound like humanity's fault. Taman tried to defend his people. He talked about the diseases they had cured, the famines they had ended, the technologies they had shared freely. But the council did not want to listen. Finally, the council speaker called for the vote. All in favor of exile? Lights appeared around the room. Red for the bug creatures, blue for the energy beings, purple for the tentacled ones, green for species Taman had never seen before. The colors kept coming until the whole hall glowed with alien anger. "The vote is unanimous," the speaker announced. "The species called human is hereby banned from all council space. You have 10 standard years to remove all human presence from civilized worlds. After that time, any human vessel found beyond your home system will be destroyed without warning." Sora Kim stepped forward. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were cold as space. "You make a mistake." "We make the galaxy safe," the speaker replied. "No," Kim said. "You make an enemy. You fear what we might become with your guidance. Now, you'll learn what we become without it." The 4 humans walked out of the crystal hall in silence. Behind them, the council members buzzed and hummed with satisfaction. They had removed the dangerous element. They had restored order. They had no idea what they had just started. Outside the hall, Taemin looked up at the alien stars. Somewhere out there, Earth waited. Humanity waited. They had 10 years to leave this part of space. He smiled for the first time in days. 10 years was plenty of time. Time to build something the council would never forget. The message reached Earth 3 days after the trial. President Dong Ho-yoon sat in his office reading the report for the 5th time. His coffee had gone cold hours ago. Outside his window, the lights of New Geneva sparkled in the darkness. 10 years, he said to the empty room. They give us 10 years to disappear. His aide knocked and entered. "Sir, Admiral Kim has arrived." Sora Kim walked in, still wearing her travel uniform. She looked tired, but her eyes burned with purpose. "Mr. President, we need to talk." "Sit down, Admiral. Tell me how bad it really is." Kim took the chair across from his desk. "It's worse than the report says. They're not just kicking us out. They're planning to make sure we never come back. I heard them talking after the trial. They want humanity contained forever." President Yoon leaned back in his chair. "Can they do it? With their current technology?" "Yes. Their fleet is massive. Their weapons are advanced. If we try to fight them the old way, we lose." "The old way?" Kim smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "Playing by their rules, using their methods, being the good little species that knows its place." She stood up and walked to the window. "But we don't have to play by their rules anymore. They kicked us out of their club. Fine. We'll start our own club, with better rules." President Yoon joined her at the window. "What are you thinking, Admiral?" "Genesis. Protocol," she said. "We mobilize everything, every factory, every shipyard, every brilliant mind on Earth and our colonies. We don't just build a fleet. We build a civilization that can move among the stars." The next morning, President Yoon called an emergency session of the World Council. Representatives from every nation and colony gathered in the Great Hall. The mood was grim until Yoon began to speak. "They want to cage us," he said. "They want to keep humanity locked in one small corner of space while they decide the fate of the galaxy. This is not acceptable." He pressed a button, and the wall screens lit up with star charts. "We have 9 years and 8 months. In that time, we will transform humanity from a single-system species into something they never expected." Dr. Woo Jin Lee stood up. "Mr. President, may I show them what we've been working on?" The screens changed to show technical drawings. Ships unlike anything humanity had ever built. weapons that bent space itself, computers that could think faster than any organic brain. We've been studying every alien technology we've encountered, Dr. Lee explained, taking the best parts and making them better. These designs are just the beginning. General Kyung-Soo Han pointed at one of the ship designs. How many can we build? With our current factories. Maybe 1,000 in 10 years, Engineer Yoonji Bae answered. But I have a better idea. She touched her tablet and new images appeared. Massive structures floating in space. Mobile shipyards. Each one can build 100 ships at once. We don't just build a fleet. We build the factories to build the fleet. Commander Jae-ho Shin raised his hand. Where do we put all these ships? Earth's system is too small. Captain Hye-jin Choi stepped forward. She was the youngest person in the room, but her voice carried authority. We don't stay in Earth's system. We expand beyond council space, find new worlds, build new homes. Colonization on that scale has never been attempted, someone objected. Good, President Yoon said. The council thinks in terms of what has been done before. We think in terms of what can be done. The work began immediately. Every human colony received new orders. Mars became a massive shipyard. The asteroid belt turned into mining operations that never stopped. Jupiter's moons housed the biggest factories in human history. Dr. Lee's laboratories worked around the clock. The breakthrough came 6 months later. He called it the quantum fold drive. Ships equipped with it could cross distances that took alien vessels weeks in just hours. How is that possible? Admiral Kim asked during the first test. We don't move through space, Dr. Lee explained. We fold space around us. The ship stays still while the universe moves. The test ship vanished from Earth orbit and appeared near Proxima Centauri in 4 hours. The trip should have taken 3 weeks with the best council technology. Engineer Bae watched the readings with wonder. We can reach any star in the galaxy in days instead of years. Can the council do this? Kim asked. No, Dr. Lee said with satisfaction. Their science is millions of years old. They stopped innovating long ago. This is purely human. More breakthroughs followed. Adaptive AI systems that learned from every battle. Bio-neural interfaces that let humans think at machine speed. Matter compilers that could turn raw asteroids into finished starships. The first colony ships launched 18 months after the trial. Captain Min-ho Jung commanded the lead vessel. Where are we going? His navigator asked. Jung smiled. Everywhere. The council isn't. They found worlds beyond the galactic rim, planets rich in resources but ignored by the council because they were too far from civilized space. Perfect for humanity's needs. Each colony was built like a fortress, self-sufficient and defendable. The colonists were volunteers who knew they might never see Earth again. They didn't care. They were building something bigger than any one world. Commander Shin established the first colony on a world they named New Busan. The council thinks we're dangerous now, he told his people. Wait until they see what we build here. By year 3, humanity had 47 colonies. Each one had its own shipyards, its own factories, its own defense fleet. The human population was spreading faster than anyone had thought possible. Admiral Kim stood on the bridge of the new flagship, Terra's Pride. Around her, the latest human. Fleet conducted training exercises. Ships moved in perfect coordination, their AI systems sharing information faster than thought. Status report, she ordered. 50,000 vessels operational, Captain Choi reported. Another 100,000 in construction. Colony populations now exceed 2 billion. Kim nodded. The numbers were staggering even to her. Alien contact? None in our territory. Council scouts have been spotted near the boundary systems, but they keep their distance. Good. Let them watch. Let them wonder what we're building out here. Dr. Lee approached with a tablet. Admiral, you need to see this. The screen showed long-range sensor readings. What am I looking at, Doctor? Council fleet movements. They're massing ships near our old territory, hundreds of thousands of vessels. Kim studied the data. They're getting nervous. Should we be worried? Captain Choi asked. Kim looked out at the human fleet. Ships that could fold space, fight with mechanical precision, and rebuild themselves from raw materials. Crews that had been born among the stars and knew no fear of aliens who thought they ruled the galaxy. No, she said. They should be worried. The message came on a routine supply run. A council probe had been found drifting near New Sol Colony. Its memory banks contained a recording. The council speaker's silver face filled the screen. "Humans of Earth," she began, "your expansion has been noted. You will cease all activity beyond your original system immediately or face the consequences." Admiral Kim watched the message with her senior staff. When it ended, she turned to them. "Opinions?" "They're scared," General Han said simply. "Good." "Our forces?" Kim asked. "Growing every day?" Commander Shin reported. "The new colonies are ahead of schedule. We'll have 100 systems by the deadline." Kim stood up. "Then it's time to send our own message." She walked to the communications console and began recording. "Council Speaker," she said, "we received your message. Here is our reply. Come and stop us." The message was sent to every council world simultaneously. Within hours, alien fleets began moving toward human space. Kim smiled. The council thought they were coming to destroy a small human colony. They had no idea they were about to meet an empire. Captain Minho Jung stared at the readings on his screen. His ship, the Explorer's Dream, had been mapping systems beyond the galactic rim for 6 months. This was the first time they had found anything interesting. "Are you sure about this?" he asked Science Officer Yuri Kang. She checked her instruments again. "Definitely artificial, Captain. Metal structures in orbit around the 4th planet. And they're big." Jung looked out at the distant star system. "Any response to our signals?" "None yet. But, Captain, there's something else. The design doesn't match any council species we know. Take us closer, slowly." The Explorer's Dream moved deeper into the system. As they approached the 4th planet, the structures became clearer. They were massive space stations, each one the size of a small city, but they looked different from council technology. Rougher, more practical. "Captain!" Communications Officer Taewon Lim called out. "We're being scanned!" "By the stations?" "No, sir. By ships. 6 of them coming fast from behind the planet." Jung gripped his command chair. "Battle stations?" Yuri shook her head as she studied the approaching vessels. "Wait. Look at their configuration. These aren't council ships either." The alien vessels surrounded the Explorer's Dream but didn't fire. They were angular and scarred, like they had seen many battles. After a tense minute, a communication came through. The voice was rough and spoke broken standard. "Human ship, you are far from council space. Why?" Jung chose his words carefully. "We are explorers. We mean no harm." A laugh came through the speakers. "No harm? Council says humans are dangerous. Council says humans must be destroyed. Yet you say no harm?" "The council kicked us out," Jung said honestly. "We're looking for new homes." There was a long silence. Then, "Follow our ships. Someone wants to meet you." The alien vessels led them to one of the massive stations. As they docked, Jung got his first look at their hosts. They were tall and broad, covered in tough scales. Each one carried weapons that looked well used. Their leader stepped forward. "I am War Chief Thakron of the Arcani. You are the first humans we have met." "Captain Minho Jung," he replied. "These are my officers." Thakron studied them with yellow eyes. "The council says you are troublemakers, disruptors. Is this true?" Jung thought about how to answer. "We helped younger species develop faster. The council didn't like it." "So they exiled you," Thakron said. It wasn't a question. "Yes." The Arcani leader bared his teeth in what might have been a smile. "Good. We like troublemakers. Over the next hours, Jung learned the Arcani's story. They had been council members once, thousands of years ago. But when the council demanded they give up their weapons and become peaceful, they refused. A warrior. Who cannot fight is no warrior at all, Thakron explained. So they cast us out. Said we were too violent for civilized space. How many of you are there? Yuri asked. Millions. We have built our own worlds out here, our own fleets. We survive without the council's permission. Jung felt excitement building. Are there others? Other exiled species? Thakron's smile grew wider. Oh yes, human. Many others. The council has been casting out the troublesome ones for a very long time. The next stop was a system controlled by the Sindari. These aliens looked like living crystals, constantly shifting and changing shape. Their leader, crystal singer Veltar, spoke in musical tones. Humans, she chimed. We have heard of you. The council fears your rapid advancement. They fear change itself, Jung replied. Yes, we understand. We were exiled for our research. The council said our experiments were too dangerous. They preferred ignorance to progress. Engineer Yunji Bai, who had joined Jung's crew for this mission, studied the Sindari technology with amazement. Your quantum matrices are incredible. How do you maintain stability? Veltar's crystal form brightened. Finally, someone who understands. We have so much to share, so much to teach. But the council only wanted us to stop learning. The third species they met were the Vashti, nomadic, traders who lived on massive ship cities. Their spokesperson, Trademaster Exiled, was a small creature with 6 arms and bright green skin. The council said we disrupted their precious economic order, Exiled explained as they toured his trading vessel. We sold to anyone who could pay. We didn't care about their stupid boundaries and trade restrictions. Free trade, Jung nodded. We believe in that too. Of course you do. You're humans. The council hates anyone who thinks for themselves. The final group was the most surprising. The Keth looked almost human, except for their silver eyes and pale blue skin. Their leader, Elder Morden, had once been a council member himself. I questioned their methods, he explained as they sat in his ship's council chamber. I asked why we watched species suffer when we could help. They said I was losing my objectivity. So they threw you out too, Jung said, eventually. But not before I learned their secrets. I know how they really operate. The fear, the control, the lies they tell to maintain power. Ambassador Insu Quan had arrived with reinforcements from human space. Now he sat with leaders from all 4 exiled species. What we're proposing, he said, is an alliance, not just trade or mutual defense, a real partnership. Thakron leaned forward. Against the council? Eventually, yes. But first, we need to build something better than what they offer. Veltar's crystals sparkled. Combined knowledge, shared technology, we could create wonders. The Arcani have the best weapons, Exiled added. The Sindari have the best science. The Vashti have the best ships. The Keth know the council's weaknesses. And humans have the drive to use it all, Elder Mordun finished. We have watched your species for months. You don't just build. You build better. You don't just learn. You improve. The negotiations took 3 days. When they were finished, the Pact of the Exiled had been signed. 5 species, all cast out by the council, now stood together. Captain Yuri Kang watched the first joint construction. Project begin. Human shipyards worked alongside Arcani weaponsmiths and Sindari crystal singers. Vashti traders brought materials from across the galaxy, while Keth advisors shared intelligence about council weaknesses. It's beautiful, she said to Jung. He nodded, watching a new type of warship take shape. It combined the best of all 5 species' technologies. The hull was Arcani strong, the weapons were human precise, the engines were Sindari fast, the systems were vastly reliable, and the design incorporated Keth tactical knowledge. The council wanted to keep us all separate, Jung said. They were afraid of what might happen if the troublemakers got together. Now they'll find out. Yuri smiled. Admiral So-Ra Kim received the first reports with satisfaction. The Alliance was producing ships faster than anyone had expected. More importantly, it was producing new ideas. "Show me the numbers," she ordered Captain Hyojin Choi. "Combined fleets now total over 200,000 vessels," Choi reported. "But that's not the best part. Look at the specifications." Kim studied the data. Ships that could fold space like humans, fight like Arcani, adapt like Sindari, survive like Vashti, and think like Keth. Each vessel was superior to anything in Council space. "Time until the deadline?" Kim asked. 18 months. Kim looked out at the growing fleet. Human ships flew alongside alien vessels in perfect formation. Crews from 5 different species worked together as if they had been allies for centuries. "Send. A message to all commanders," she ordered. "Accelerate production schedules. The Council is about to learn what happens when you unite your enemies." In the Council chambers on Nexus Prime, emergency sessions had been called every day for weeks. The insectoid Vortani clicked frantically as they delivered reports. "Human expansion has exceeded all projections," the speaker buzzed. "But worse, they have made contact with the exiled species." The Council speaker's silver face showed no emotion, but her voice carried tension. "All of them?" "All of them. Arcani, Sindari, Vashti, and Keth. They are working together." The energy beings pulsed with alarm. This was not anticipated. The exiled species were meant to remain isolated. "Clearly, we underestimated human influence," the speaker admitted. "What are their numbers?" "Unknown. But our scouts report massive construction projects in 17 systems. They are building something." The Council speaker stood silent for long minutes. Finally, she spoke. "Prepare the Grand Fleet. All member species will contribute ships. We end this before it grows beyond our control." "How many ships?" the Vortani asked. "All of them." Deep. In human space, sensors detected the massive Council fleet movements. Admiral Kim smiled as she read the reports. "They're finally taking us seriously," she told her staff. "Good. It's time for the galaxy to see what the exiles have built." The Council's Grand Fleet was the largest military force ever assembled in galactic history. 100,000 ships from dozens of species spread across space like a metal sea. At its heart, the massive command vessel Eternal Order carried High Arbiter Vex Thala and the Council's most powerful leaders. "Final scan of human space," Vex Thala ordered. Her energy form pulsed with cold light. The tactical officer, a crystalline being from Altair, studied his instruments. Long-range sensors show approximately 50,000 human vessels massed at the edge of their territory. "They're waiting for us." 50,000, Vexathala mused. "Against our 100,000. Do they think courage alone will save them?" "Perhaps they have allies," suggested War Master Clix of the Vortani. "Our intelligence reports contact with the exiled species." "The Arcani and their companions?" Vexathala's light dimmed with contempt. "Savages and outcasts, even combined, they lack the numbers to threaten us." Admiral So-Ra Kim stood on the bridge of her flagship, now called Terra's Wrath. Around her, the combined fleet of the Pact of the Exiled held position at Kepler's Gate, the boundary between Council space and the free systems. "Council fleet approaching," Captain Hyojin Choi reported. "They'll be in weapons range in 6 hours." "Their numbers?" Kim asked. "Confirmed at 100,000 vessels. All classes, all species." Kim nodded calmly. "And ours?" "Fleet Admiral." Bo Young Lee stepped forward. 50,000 packed ships ready for battle. But Admiral, they still outnumber us 2 to 1. Kim smiled. "Numbers aren't everything, Admiral. How are our allies positioned? Arcani heavy assault ships on the flanks, Lee reported. Sindari science vessels providing electronic warfare. Support. Vashti fast attack craft for hit-and-run strikes. Keth intelligence ships monitoring council communications. And our human forces. Core battle line. All ships equipped with quantum fold drives and adaptive AI networks. Kim looked out at the stars. They think they know what they're facing. They think this is the same humanity they exiled. They're about to learn how wrong they are. General Kyung-Soo Han approached with a datapad. Admiral, final intelligence report from Elder Morden. Kim read the Keth analysis of council battle. Tactics. Predictable, she said. They haven't changed their strategies in thousands of years. Still fighting like they did when they conquered the galaxy. Will that help us? Captain Choi asked. It will win us the battle, Kim replied. The council fleet arrived at Kepler's Gate in perfect formation. Their ships formed traditional battle, lines with the largest vessels in the center and smaller craft protecting the flanks. It was a formation that had won 1,000 battles across galactic history. High Arbiter Vexthala opened communications. Her voice echoed across space to every ship in both fleets. Humans and their collaborators, she began. You stand in violation of council law. Surrender now, and you will be granted quick deaths. Resist, and we will make your suffering legendary. Admiral. Kim's response was broadcast from Terra's Wrath. Council fleet, she said calmly. You are trespassing in free space. Turn around and leave, or we will show you what happens when you corner dangerous species. Vexathala's energy form flared brighter. You dare threaten us? We are the Council. We have ruled this galaxy for millions of years. Your time is over, Kim replied. You just don't know it yet. The battle began at exactly 14:30 Galactic Standard Time. The Council fleet attacked in their traditional manner. The heavy ships moved forward while smaller vessels provided support. Their weapons fired in coordinated volleys that had shattered planetary defenses across the galaxy. But the human fleet didn't respond the way the Council expected. Instead of meeting the attack head-on, human ships simply vanished. One moment they were there, the next they were gone. Quantum fold drives allowed them to appear anywhere on the battlefield instantly. Where did they go? The tactical officer on Eternal Order demanded. His answer came in the form of weapons fire from directly behind the Council battle line. Human ships had folded space to appear in the Council's rear, attacking their command vessels and supply lines. Impossible! Vexathala shrieked. No species has mastered instantaneous movement. War Master Clix studied the tactical display with growing alarm. They're not just moving instantly, they're coordinating perfectly. Every human ship knows exactly where every other ship is going to be. He was right. The adaptive AI networks allowed human vessels to fight as a single organism. When one ship moved, all the others adjusted their positions automatically. When one ship fired, the others provided covering fire without being ordered. The Arcani entered the battle with their traditional war cry echoing across all frequencies. Their heavily armored ships smashed into the Council's flanks like hammers, their weapons designed for close-range destruction. War Chief Thakron commanded the assault from his flagship, Blood of Warriors. For too long we have hidden in exile, he roared. Today we show the Council what warriors can do. The Arcani ships were smaller than the Council's heavy cruisers, but they were built for one purpose, to close with the enemy and destroy them at point-blank range. Their pilots were fearless, their tactics brutal, their weapons devastating. The Sindari contribution was more subtle, but equally effective. Crystal Singer Veltar coordinated electronic warfare from her ship, Mind of Stars. Sindari technology invaded Council computer systems, causing weapons to malfunction and shields to fail at critical moments. Their targeting systems are down, Veltar sang across the Allied communications network. Their sensors are blind. Strike now. The Vashti struck like ghosts. Their fast ships appeared from nowhere, delivered precise attacks on critical systems, and vanished before the Council could respond. Trademaster Zixel personally led raids on 3 Council supply ships, crippling their ability to repair damage. Elder Morden and the Keth provided something even more valuable than weapons: perfect intelligence. They knew every Council ship, type, every tactical doctrine, every weakness. Council flagship attempting to withdraw to safe distance, Morden reported to Admiral Kim. Recommend immediate fold strike to prevent escape. Kim didn't hesitate. All human heavy units, fold to grid 77 Alpha. Target the Eternal Order. 12 human battleships materialized around the Council flagship, their weapons charged with energy that seemed to bend space itself. This is Admiral Sora Kim to the Eternal Order, she broadcast. Surrender now or be destroyed. High Arbiter Vexathala's response was to order maximum power to weapons. The Council flagship opened fire with everything it had. The human ships absorbed the attack with barely a flicker of their shields. Then they returned fire. The weapons that struck Eternal Order were unlike anything in Council experience. They didn't just damage the ship's hull. They disrupted the quantum structure of matter itself, causing sections of the vessel to simply cease to exist. Impossible! Vexathala screamed as her flagship came apart around her. Our technology is millions of years advanced. Your technology is millions of years old, Kim corrected. Ours is brand new. The battle lasted 4 hours. When it ended, 70,000 Council ships were destroyed or disabled. The remainder fled in disorder, abandoning their wounded and their pride. The Pact of the Exiled lost fewer than 3,000 vessels. Admiral Kim stood in the command center of Terra's wrath, surrounded by her staff and allied commanders. Through the viewports, rescue operations continued as human and allied ships picked up Council survivors. Casualties? She asked. Minimal on our side, Captain Choi reported. We're treating Council wounded alongside our own. Thakron growled approvingly. Honorable. The Council would have left us to die. We're not the Council, Kim replied. That's the point. Elder Morden approached with a communication device. Admiral, we're receiving surrender requests from 17 Council member species. They want to negotiate separate peace treaties. Kim nodded. The intelligence reports had predicted this. The Council was held together by fear and tradition. Once they showed weakness, the alliance would crumble. Accept their communications, she ordered. But make it clear, we're not interested in conquest. We're interested in freedom. Crystal Singer. Veltar's form sparkled with excitement. Admiral, our sensors are detecting something remarkable. The quantum disruptions from the battle have created stable fold space tunnels. We can now travel anywhere in the galaxy in minutes instead of hours. Trademaster Zixel laughed with delight. Do you know what this means? We can reach any star system, trade with any species, explore any world. The galaxy just became our marketplace. Kim looked out at the stars. In the distance, Council ships were still fleeing toward their home territories. Behind her, the greatest alliance in galactic history was celebrating its first victory. Send a message to all packed worlds, she ordered. The Council's grip on the galaxy is broken. Any species that wants freedom knows where to find us. She turned to her commanders. And prepare the fleets for movement. We have a galaxy to liberate. War Master Clix's ship limped back toward Council space with the other survivors. He studied the battle recordings with growing horror. The Council had just suffered the worst defeat in their history at the hands of species they had dismissed as primitive and dangerous. What will you tell the Council? His aide asked. The news of the Council's defeat spread across the galaxy faster than anyone expected. On 1,000 worlds, species that had lived under Council rule for millions of years watched the recordings of the Battle of Kepler's Gate. They saw the mighty, grand fleet scattered like dust before the combined forces of the exiles. On the mining world of Zerion 7, the reptilian Skeleth workers stopped their excavation machines and looked up at the stars. Their overseer, a council-appointed Vortani administrator, tried to restore order. "Back to work," the insect clicked angrily. "The council still rules here." But the lead Scaleth miner, an old female named Hissak, shook her massive head. "No," she said in a voice that carried across the work site. "The humans showed us. The strong do not always win. Sometimes the free win instead." Similar scenes played out on hundreds of worlds. The Nalti, whom humans had taught to build starships, declared independence from their council governors. The Cordon, whose population boom the council blamed on. Human medicine seized control of their own mining operations. In the grand halls of Nexus Prime, emergency sessions ran day and night. The Silver Council speaker, her face now showing cracks of stress, addressed the remaining loyal species. "Order must be maintained," she declared. "The humans and their allies represent chaos. We are civilization itself." But her words fell on increasingly empty halls. Every day more species withdrew from the council, either declaring independence or requesting admission to the growing Terran Commonwealth. Admiral Sora Kim, now calling herself Empress of the Commonwealth at the insistence of her allies, stood in the observation deck of Terra's Heart, humanity's new mobile capital. The massive city ship housed 10 million beings from dozens of species. "Status report," she said to Prime Minister Tae-Min Park, who had traded his diplomat suit for the casual uniform of the Commonwealth leadership. 47 species have joined the Commonwealth in the past month, Park reported. Another 63 have declared independence from the Council. The Vortani Hive states are requesting a non-aggression pact, Kim nodded. The insectoid species that had once buzzed angrily about human interference now wanted protection from Council retaliation. "Grant it. Anyone who breaks free from the Council deserves our support." Grand Admiral Hye-Jin Choi approached with a holographic display. "Empress, fleet status across all Commonwealth systems." The display showed the galaxy in stunning detail. Blue markers indicated Commonwealth worlds, now numbering over 10,000. Green markers showed independent systems that traded with the Commonwealth. Red markers showed the shrinking area still under Council control. "The Council holds perhaps 20% of their former territory," Choi reported. "Their fleet strength is down to 30,000 vessels, most of them obsolete." Science Director Woo Jin Lee joined them with his latest research data. "The quantum fold network is complete," he announced. "Any Commonwealth citizen can travel from Earth to the Galactic Rim in less than 6 hours." Kim studied the network display. Shimmering lines connected every major Commonwealth world, creating a web of instantaneous travel that put the old Council hyperspace routes to shame. "Travel time to the Andromeda Galaxy?" 18 hours, Lee said with pride. "We've already sent exploration fleets. Early reports suggest dozens of civilizations that would welcome Commonwealth membership." The door chimed and War Chief Thakron entered, his scaled hide bearing new ceremonial scars. "Empress," he rumbled, "the Arcani Council of Warriors has completed its review. We formally request full integration into Commonwealth military doctrine." This was significant. The Arcani had maintained their independence even within the Alliance. For them to request full integration meant they truly saw the Commonwealth as their new home. "Granted," Kim said immediately. "What changed your minds?" Thakron's yellow eyes gleamed. "Your warriors fight with honor, but also with wisdom. You could have conquered the galaxy by now, but instead you build it up. You could have enslaved the defeated council species, but instead you offer them citizenship. This is the way of true warriors." Crystal Singer Veltar materialized in the room, her quantum form shimmering with excitement. "Empress, the Sindari have completed analysis of the Council's ancient databases. We found something remarkable." The holographic display changed to show archaeological data. "The current Council species aren't the first galactic rulers," Veltar explained. There have been at least 6 previous galactic civilizations, each lasting millions of years before collapsing. What happened to them? Park asked. Stagnation, Elder Mordoon said as he entered the room. The pale Keth had been studying the same data. Each civilization reached a peak and then stopped growing. They became obsessed with maintaining order and preventing change. Eventually, they crumbled from within. Kim understood immediately. The Council was making the same mistake. Exactly, Morden confirmed. But the Commonwealth is different. You encourage growth, change, innovation. You don't fear what others might become, you help them become it. Trademaster Zixel appeared on the communication screen from his flagship. Speaking of becoming, the green-skinned Vashti said cheerfully, the trade networks are exceeding all projections. Commonwealth citizens are sharing technology freely, across 1,000 star systems. Innovation is accelerating exponentially. The proof was everywhere. Human quantum computing merged with Sindari crystal matrices to create computers that could model entire solar systems. Arcani metallurgy combined with Vashti engineering produced ships that were virtually indestructible. Keth psychology mixed with human adaptability created training programs that could prepare any species for space exploration. What about the remaining Council territories? Kim asked. Admiral Sung-Ho Park, who had been monitoring the situation, stepped forward. 3 main factions have emerged from the collapse. The hardliners still believe they can restore the old order. The moderates want to negotiate a peace treaty. The reformers are requesting Commonwealth membership. And the hardliners' strength? Maybe 1,000 systems, mostly in the galactic core. But they're isolated and running out of resources. Their own member species are abandoning them daily. Kim made her decision. Send envoys to the moderates and reformers. Offer full Commonwealth membership to any species that wants it. As for the hardliners, she paused, looking out at the stars. Leave them alone. They'll either change their minds eventually or fade away into irrelevance. That's it? Choi asked. We just ignore them? We don't need to conquer them, Kim explained. We just need to offer their people something better, which we already have. The transformation of the galaxy continued at an incredible pace. Within 2 years of the Battle of Kepler's Gate, the Commonwealth encompassed 300 species across 15,000 star systems. The Old Council controlled fewer than 50 systems and was widely regarded as a historical curiosity. But the real change was deeper than politics or territory. The Commonwealth had created something the galaxy had never seen, a truly free civilization. On New Terra Station, humanity's diplomatic headquarters, Ambassador Insu Quan welcomed a delegation from the Threxian Empire, a civilization from the galactic rim that had existed in isolation for millions of years. We have watched your Commonwealth with great interest, the lead Threxian said through his translation device. Your species fight together instead of against each other. This seems impossible, Quan smiled. It seems impossible until you try it. Would you like to see how it works? The tour took 3 days. The Threxians visited human worlds where alien refugees had found new homes. They saw Arcani engineers working alongside Sindari scientists to build better starships. They watched. Vashti traders teaching Commonwealth economics to species that had never known free markets. This should not work, the Threxian delegate said on the final day. Too many species, too many cultures, too many different ways of thinking. That's exactly why it does work, Quan replied. Diversity isn't our weakness, it's our strength. By the end of the week, the Threxian Empire had requested Commonwealth membership, the pattern repeated across the galaxy. Species that had never heard of Earth found themselves drawn to the Commonwealth's promise of freedom and growth. The Quantum Fold network expanded to carry not just ships and cargo, but ideas, art, and dreams. Empress Kim stood once again in her observation deck, but now she was looking at something unprecedented in galactic history. Through the transparent aluminum, she could see representatives from over 1,000 species working together on Terra's heart. Humans, Arcani, Sindari, Vashti, Keth, and hundreds of others moved through the corridors as equals. "Population report," she said to her aide. "Commonwealth population now exceeds 2 trillion beings across 16,000 worlds," came the reply. "Growth rate is holding steady at 12% annually." Kim nodded. The numbers were staggering, but what impressed her more was the quality of life those numbers represented. Commonwealth citizens had access to the best technology, the best education, the best opportunities the galaxy could provide. "Any word from the old Council territories?" High Arbiter Vexathala's faction controls 37 systems, the aide reported. "But intelligence suggests they're facing internal rebellions. The